Emotions are what set humans apart from machines, at least for now. Although robots don't feel emotions, yet, we can teach them to recognize it through something called sentiment analysis. Think of it like this. If a robot reads a movie review that says, "I laughed so hard I cried," it probably didn't get the joke. But still, using sentiment analysis, it can tell it is a positive review. Note that we can't just rely on the stars, as they often don't tell the full story. That's where sentiment analysis clutches in. But to make it work, we need lots and lots of real human opinions. And what better place to find them than IMDb, packed with passionate movie reviews from people just like you and me. The IMDb dataset is a goldmine for sentiment analysis. It contains 50,000 movie reviews, half positive, half negative, all written by real people. Some reviews are glowing, others not so much. But that's exactly what makes it such a great teacher for our model. Want to try this yourself? You can download the dataset right from Paper with Code website. It's totally free. Then use Python and Pandas to load it, explore it, and bring it to life. You'll be surprised what a few charts can reveal about human emotion. Before we dive into charts and models, let's make sure our data is truly fair. F, findable. It's listed on Papers with Code and Kaggle, so anyone can track it down in seconds. A, accessible. No paywalls, no forums, just click and grab the CSV, totally unrestricted. I, interoperable. Plain text CSV plus a standard positive-negative label vocabulary, so every tool understands it out of the box. R, reproducible. Open research license, and the original paper documents every pre-processing step, so you can rerun the pipeline and get the very same results. Now that we know the dataset meets the FAIR principles, it's time to explore what's inside. From review lengths to common words, let's uncover the patterns behind the opinions. First up, balance. The dataset is split right down the middle. 25,000 positive reviews and 25,000 negative ones. But not all reviews are created equal. Some are just a few words, others are essays with more than 20 words. This variation matters when training models. So the reviews vary in length, but what about the words themselves? What kind of language do people use when they love a movie or hate one? Let's take a look. Here's a cloud of the most common words in positive reviews. Words like amazing, brilliant, enjoyed, and loved pop up everywhere. These are the emotional signals our model can learn from. On the flip side, negative reviews use a totally different tone. You'll see words like boring, disappointing, bad, and waste show up again and again. That contrast is exactly what sentiment analysis thrives on. We've explored the data from every angle, counts, lengths, and the words people actually use. Now comes the fun part, turning all of that into predictions. Let's have a look at a few sentiment analysis models and see which one really understands these IMDb reviews. We put 4 classic models to the test. First up, logistic regression, a straightforward linear classifier that turns word-level features into a probability of being positive or negative. Next, multinomial naive Bayes. It treats each word like independent evidence, making lightning-fast predictions that often punch above their weight. Then we tried a linear SVM. It finds the best separating hyperplane, usually squeezing out a bit more accuracy on text data. Finally, ridge classifier, similar to logistic regression, but with an OpenTV penalty that helps it stay stable when features overlap. Evaluating all four models, let's see how their ROC curves look. Here are the model's results. Logistic regression came out on top, tracking sentiment the most accurately of the group. A close second was the linear SVM, just slightly behind. Ridge classifier held steady in third, proving its regularization pays off. Rounding out the list, naive Bayes, decent and respectable, but not quite as sharp on this dataset. Watch the lines in the zoomed-in version of the ROC curve. The gap widens as we approach the top left corner, which represents the perfect classifier. Great! Now we know which model wins on accuracy. But remember, classifiers can't read raw sentences. Before any training happens, we have to vectorize every review. Step 1 is tokenization, breaking a sentence into individual words, or even word pairs called n-grams. Next, we clean things up. Lowercase everything, strip punctuation, and drop common stop words like the and. Then comes TF-IDF weighting. TF scores how often a word appears in one review. IDF downweights words that appear in every review, so amazing carries more weight than movie. The result is a giant but sparse matrix where each row is a review and each column is a term weight. That numeric matrix is what we fed into logistic regression, naive Bayes, the linear SVM, and ridge classifier. And that's how those models learn to spot positive and negative sentiment. So we've turned words into numbers, trained our models, and seen the accuracy scores. But one big question remains. Why does a model call a review positive or negative? Let's lift the lid with two popular interpretability tools, LIME and SHAP. LIME gives us a local explanation. It perturbs one review, watches how the prediction shifts, and highlights the words that matter most for that single decision. SHAP zooms out and shows us the global picture, ranking features by how much they push predictions up or down across all reviews, while still letting us drill down into any one example. Together, they turn our black box sentiment model into something we can actually understand and trust. To show what these explainers actually do, let's take a real review, boiled down to one punchy line. The review says, basically, bad plot, bored the audience, guns everywhere but never used, overall pretty bad. First, LIME breaks that sentence apart and tells us why our logistic regression model calls it negative. The biggest red flags? Bad, sucks, and bored. A couple of words like good and okay try to soften the blow, but their weights are tiny. We double-checked with a local SHAP explanation. Same story. Bad, sucks, and even gun pull the score down. Nothing strong enough pushes it up. And when we zoom out to a global SHAP view of 200 other reviews, the pattern holds. Positive films shout great, best, excellent, while flops lean on worst, waste, and terrible. So whether it's one review or the whole dataset, the model and the explainers agree on what makes a movie bomb or soar. That wraps up the detective work on our IMDb model. We started with raw text, turned it into numbers, tested 4 classic models, and peeled back their decisions with LIME and SHAP, both locally and across the dataset. The verdict: logistic regression takes the crown, and the explainers confirm it's focusing on the very words moviegoers care about. Thanks for watching, and happy modeling.